Okay. We are missing our partner, Dan, tonight. Dan had another
Yes.
commitment. Uh, I heard it was said that he was worried this would be a hairy situation. He wasn't qualified. So he didn't come for tonight's meeting. But we do miss
you,
Dan, and we
Dan.
wish him well, and we're looking forward to his return in the near future. But anyway, Dan, you are missed tonight. Anyway,
Absolutely.
Mary, what do we got on steak tonight?
Well, we have a guest who will be with us in about 20 minutes or so. Jeff Winecoff, mayor of Boiling Spring Lakes, will join us to talk about the dams, the lakes, and the bond issue. But in the meantime, I want to share a few things with our audience. If you are going to partake in Black Friday this Friday, please try to remember to also go to the Small Business Saturday. This is a nationwide thing that is celebrated now between Black Friday and Cyber Monday. And something that I don't believe people are aware of, 67 cents of each dollar that you spend in your community on Small Business Saturday stays in your community. Now, these businesses work very hard and depend on all of you. So get out there and do your Christmas shopping and give them a break also.
And that's very important because approximately 80% of the businesses in this country are small businesses.
Mm-hmm.
And the Christmas season is the major bulk of the year where they do the bulk of their business to survive.
Absolutely.
So if we're not out there supporting them, these are the people that hire the local people. They hire kids to work for them. They hire locals as best they can. They don't work with a lot of margin either, 7-10% maybe, especially in a food operation that they provide. But they're also the ones that are the first ones there when you need a donation for some activity or some group doing something, or you need, they support a baseball team or a basketball team. They're always there, and we need to come back and support them too. So
Absolutely.
I echo what Mary has said. We need to get out there on Saturday and support those small businesses.
We also need to remember our children. Not only contributing to our food pantries and organizations such as Matthews Ministries, we need to make sure that our children are eating. And through the holidays, that seems to be more important than ever. Another entity that you need to support, I know that Christmas is for kids. This is my feeling anyway. Toys for Tots, which is sponsored by the U.S. Marine Corps Reserves. If you take a $10 new toy unwrapped and look in your municipality, there's certainly going to be a box somewhere that you can drop it off. The only thing that they ask of you this year is please, no toy guns and nothing representing a gun.
And Toys for Tots been around for a long time, and they're strictly there to help kids out and families that need it. Something you said earlier about we tend to remember this is Thanksgiving, and we thank God for where we are, what we have, but we also need to remember that there are people not as well off as we are. No matter what level you are in economics, there's always someone below you that needs some help. And donating to a food pantry, donating some money, volunteering to help serve food at Thanksgiving Day with certain places that offer that food out there is a little bit of paying back for the goodness that we have in this country.
Yes.
So, matter of fact, I was talking about this very same topic with TK on the show when I was with him Monday. We talked about how people need to remember Thanksgiving and remember that there are people that need our help. And it's not just a one time a year. It should be round clock. Yes. I'm not a big fan of government doing it. I am a fan of us taking care of our neighbors as we would want to be taken care of. So, I think that's important.
I agree. One of my favorite things to do during the holidays, every year I wait for the tree to go up at Walmart. and they have these tags on it, and it gives the age of a child and what that child has requested.
Oh, the angel trees.
Yes, for a Christmas gift. I love doing that. I picked up my tag yesterday, and I'm really excited. I have a little 13-year-old girl. I cannot wait to go shopping for her.
Those of you who pick up the one that says Bill, senior citizen, that's still me. And I do accept gifts from the angel tree because I would be one of them. So, please help out there because I'm very needy at times.
He really is, guys. He really is. You know what? Let's talk turkey, Belle.
Oh, gobble, gobble. Can I just gobble that one up?
I need you to show us your hat.
Oh, in honor of Thanksgiving. Everyone needs to get ready for the holidays, and you need to basically get up there and
Oh, it's perfect.
and you need to celebrate turkey time
I
at
love
the
it.
same time you get ready for Christmas. And if you're not a Christmas person, Hanukkah or Kwanzaa, whatever you're out there doing. But this kind of sets up the holiday festivity. And if you think this one's good, wait till my Christmas hat show up.
Yes.
So hang in there. But anyway, this one's for you, TK. So just know that.
I love it.
And
Thank
Dan,
you.
these drumsticks are probably stronger than what you worked on, but we'll get them there. But anyway, thank you for my lead-in for my picture there,
I
because
love
that's
it.
very important.
I want to just remind everybody that we have North Carolina turkeys that are headed to the White House this year. This is the 75th year of the White House turkey pardoning tradition. This Monday, actually, is the anniversary. These turkeys were raised in Monroe, North Carolina. And, it's important to remember that our farm families here in North Carolina feed our country and the world.
Without our farmers, we would be in a lot of trouble,
Yeah.
and you think about it, that farmland is shrinking every time you turn around.
Mhm.
Something else is going in it. If it's not a new condo area, it's a windmill or it's something else like that.
Cut it
That's just
out.
taking farmland away from good people. But we've been managed with our skills and our technology to increase the amount of food we grow on less and less property,
That's
and
right.
increase the number of yields we get in a given season. So
Mhm.
all that adds together and puts the food on our tables. But without that American farmer and that trucker to deliver it, we would
Yeah.
be in a lot of trouble. So anyway, Thanksgiving, are you going to thank a farmer, thank a trucker,
Yes.
and thank those people that work in the store that, very often we ignore when we walk by them, and that's not right.
Mhm.
Thank them for what they do. And I always go out of my way when I'm eating out someplace on a holiday to thank those people working there, because if they're not there doing their job, I'm not having that ability to eat there. So
That's right.
keep in mind that anytime that someone's out there working for us, they're doing you a service, and you need to treat them appropriately and thank them for what they're doing. So
Yes. Another thing that I'm really thankful for, and I know that you're going to let the folks know, is our past election.
oh,
I am so thankful because all the news that we received was basically very good news. And I'm sure that our audience would like to hear some of that good news.
if you were in Brunswick County, we swept again. We did everything we needed to do. If you were a Republican, you were elected to those positions, and by large majorities. So I think we averaged between 62 and 65%
Mhm.
of the vote for everybody on the ballot, which is a phenomenal thing to do. And it's for a couple of reasons. One, these people have worked hard to get our support. And secondly, very often, those extra votes, if you will, that we tally up there help us get through other counties on a statewide level that may not vote what we want, or was so close that our numbers will help them get over the top for those winners. So,
Right.
for example, we congratulate Ted Budd for being our next U.S. Senator. And I don't fault anybody, but if you look at our two counties here in Brunswick, he won by some almost 18 or 19,000 votes. In New Hanover, he lost by about 1,800 votes.
Right.
So we made up that difference, and then other counties as we go down the line. So congratulations to Brunswick. On a statewide level, for the second election in a row, we swept the judges.
Mhm.
That's 2 years, and we won every judge position at the state level, and at the local level, we won every judge position too, which
Yes,
is
we
not a
did.
bad thing. So,
Mhm.
congratulations to our people. Uh, Many of our people running were unopposed, which made it rather easy for them to
Mhm.
get reelected. But we thank them for that. We thank all the workers, and I mean, you have to. I don't. I don't think I can click everybody off, but you between poll observers, between greeters,
Right.
between the people that man the headquarters, the at-large people that were out
Mhm.
there, the people that trained, like Mary trained forever getting people ready. Uh, you had at-large people all over the county working to get things done. I know I'm
Yes.
leaving people out, but
Well,
there were literally hundreds of people in this county
mm,
that rolled up their sleeves to make this election great and make it possible.
absolutely.
And they need to be thanked for their effort.
Mhm.
And I'm the chairman at this point, so I also need to say, let's enjoy the thing. But after the first of the year, we have another election to win. We got to
Right.
get ready for 2024.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
thank you for the great job and continue working with us. We need you.
I want to thank all the volunteers as well. We had some great people who came out to learn to observe, be poll observers. In this election cycle, I trained 94 people, and we had very few slots that were empty during this election.
That's true.
And I think that's wonderful.
I think it's better than we've ever done.
I believe so. And I hope that they will come back out again and work with us in 2024. I also want to thank all my at large people. I had 10 at large, or 9 plus myself, who actually went from poll to poll to make sure that things were going well and find out if the observers needed anything. And we cannot thank our chair, Bill Moore, enough, because it seemed like he was everywhere. Whenever we needed something or needed him, he was there. So thank you, Bill.
Well, I'm only as good as the people around you, and that's the truth.
Well,
But beyond that, there's also someone else that's here that deserves a lot of thanks. For the first time in the history of this headquarters, we put electronic billboards up.
right.
And honoring,
Right.
and Greta's here, and
Yes.
she's gonna,
Yep.
she'll
Thank
come
you,
up later and
Greta.
join us. But
Yep.
she headed that operation. She took all the flack that went with it, and she made it happen. And
Yep.
those boards were terrific around the county, and we're looking forward to expand that in 2024
Right.
and go even further. But again, thank you to Greta for a great job done,
Yep.
and we're going to double her salary. So
We did a lot
Yeah.
of different things.
we did a lot of doubling because when you make
And
nothing, it's easy.
and it was wonderful because everything came together and worked.
Yeah, the sleigh
To
cards.
oh yeah, everything worked to everything was beneficial to the candidates.
And in the
Um,
South, where we couldn't get a billboard, we were too late, or we didn't have
Mhm.
the money, frankly, to get there too.
Right.
We managed to get up 4x8 signs around the
Yes.
county
Yep.
that were allowed us to talk about issues. And credit goes to Helen, who speared that, and
Right.
Brian Wilson, who helped put them out there
Mhm.
and get all over the place. And he worked with his campaign manager Greg.
Oh,
And many
who
people.
deserves a lot of
Yes, he
credit.
does.
Thank you, Greg.
They were truly a Batman and Robin group. So
They were.
they've done a magnificent job. But again, there were just so many people to thank, and that includes the people that man this headquarters from 6:30 in the morning until late at night, and handled issues. And we kept in contact with the state as we needed to.
Mhm.
And again, credit was done to everyone, but North Carolina did extremely well in this election. As a matter of fact, you hear a lot of people complaining about what happened nationally, but there's two things people forget. There's two states that were singled out as models for this election:
Mhm.
Florida and North Carolina.
Right.
They did everything they had to.
And we both went red. We are both labeled red states.
Yes, we are, and they weren't
Mhm.
sure about that to begin with. But
That's right.
the people turned out and they did what they needed to do,
Mhm.
and I credit that. And in spite of all the work that every one of these volunteers done, none of it would have worked without you voters.
That's right.
So we are proud the fact that in an off year, well over 50% of the electorate came out and voted.
Mhm. And I want to invite anybody who wishes to join in to volunteer for anything. Just come and be part of us, okay? I want to invite anybody and everybody. Come by headquarters. Leave us your name, your email, your phone number. We will get in touch with you, or go online and just put in your name and all your information, and somebody will contact you. We are always looking for volunteers.
TK, I think we take a break now because our visitor is getting ready to join us on the stage. So
yeah. Marine Service Pro and the Tackle Box Seafood, located at 8210 River Road, Southport, is open Monday through Friday, 8 to 5, with the Tackle Box open Monday through Saturday, 7 to 6. Marine Service Pro is a full Suzuki and Tohatsu dealership. They deal in pre-owned boats, full service and repair, with certified technicians in all engines, and fiberglass specialists. The Tackle Box offers fresh local seafood, live bait, a tackle shop, and fish packing and shipping. They also offer a full-service U-Haul dealership. Spend time with Leon or Jenny for one-stop shopping at Marine Service Pro and the Tackle Box Seafood, 8210 River Road, Southport.
this show is also sponsored by Dr. Tony Maglione. Dr. Tony is a cardiologist practicing in Wilmington. He accepts Medicare patients, and his office is located across the street from New Hanover Regional Medical Center at 2032 17th Street. The office number is 202-1071. Dr. Tony is an author whose last book is Rules for Conservative Patriots, and it can be purchased on Amazon. His website is www.drtonymag.com.
Veteran Awareness sponsored by You Are Not Alone. Today's veteran homeless rate is approximately 19,750, and the numbers are declining because of the various veteran programs. If you are a veteran you know is homeless, please call 877-4AID-VET. This is a confidential and toll-free call. From this veteran to other veterans, please be there to help our brother and sister veterans. Again, the number is 1-877-424-3838. And thank you for your service.
Are you nervous about joining a gym? Anxious about not being able to keep up with others in the fitness classes? Full Circle Fitness has your solution. We specialize in working with those just getting started on their fitness journey. Our coaches tailor each workout to you and your level of ability, so you don't have to worry about keeping up. There's no better opportunity to get started. Call today, Full Circle Fitness, 910-399-8350, or visit FullCircleFitnessNC.com.
You missed my Christmas. Thanksgiving.
Welcome back, everybody, to All Things Brunswick. It's Tuesday night, and we have a special guest with us this evening. I would like to welcome the mayor of Boiling Spring Lakes, Jeff Winecoff.
Well, thank you, Mary.
Welcome, Mayor.
Thank you, Bill. Thank you very much for allowing me to come on tonight and speak to everybody. I appreciate it very much.
Absolutely. You had a bit of a controversial issue in this last election with the bond, which is a necessary part of retaining our lakes. Would you like to say anything to the folks about that?
Well, Mary, you know, when I first started running for office, my goal was to get these lakes and dams built back. Spending many of my years on Oak Island, on town council there, trying to get our beaches back and working for money there, I knew there was a way to go about getting this money, and there was opportunities out there for grants, and I ran on that because I'm a person who likes to get things done, get things knocked out, and make our town whole again. So once I got elected, I went to work with my commissioners, our board. We put a plan in place to go out to every little bit of money we could find. We put a grants committee together. The grants committee started work right away. We had 3 goals for them: find money for the dams, find money for roads, and find money for stormwater flooding. The grants committee went out, they applied for 3 straight grants. They got a grant for the stormwater, they got a grant for roads, and they got a grant for our dams. They got a $14.9 million grant from the Department of Defense, and it's one of the largest they've ever given out.
Isn't that
So it's absolutely wonderful. Our grants committee, we owe them a lot for what they've done. The board, they stepped up to the plate. Everybody went to work trying to make sure everybody knew that this was very important to us. There was a lot of misinformation out there.
Yes.
We had a lot of people going out telling people that we were raising taxes, that it was going to be immediate, the taxes would go up. And it was just a lot of information that wasn't true. So I took it upon myself, and some board members with me in grant committee started going out and talking to the residents of the town. I was meeting with them during the week. I was meeting with them on the weekend. I did that for a little over a month and talking to a lot of people.
And folks, absolutely, he was everywhere.
We went door to door.
Yeah, you must have been exhausted.
But the facts were there. You know, when towns go after doing projects, they hire the engineers. And the engineer's job is to go out there and get the most accurate bids and at the most accurate cost to be able to give a town.
Right.
Our engineers did that, and they gave us all the numbers that we needed and actually gave us the amount for the bond that we needed. So we had all the facts that said, yes, this is what we need. We had to go ahead and apply for the bond, 20 million with the Board of Education. And then all of a sudden we got to 14.9. So the 20 million was no longer needed. All we really needed was that contingency of 5.1.
But it was too late to change it.
It was way too late to change it. And everybody thinks government, if they have their hands on money, they're going to spend it. Well, it doesn't really work that way with local government because they have so many people watching after them. The local government commission, everybody watches out what we have to do, and the paperwork we have to fill out is very substantial. I mean, there's a lot we have to do to make sure the money's accounted for. So we still have more money we want to go after. I have talked to Representative Miller to look at trying to, in the long session, give us an extra $6 million just to be able to say, hey, if we need it, the money's there.
Right.
And I told Representative Miller, if we don't need it, I'll give you the money back. We're not here to make money. We're here to get our lakes and dams back.
Exactly.
Our town has been 4 years just in the lake beds, trees growing up, wild animals roaming through. And you know, after 4 years, your town sort of suffers.
Yes, it does.
And one thing I wanted to make sure, and all the commissioners and everybody was on board with this, was get our town back, bring it back to life. We're looking at how we can bring in some light commercial to offset the tax increase on anybody. Residents pay the burden of the taxes along with sales tax. That's how we make our money.
Yeah.
If we can get light commercial in, then that's going to help them and benefit them in the long run. So we're looking at that. We've had options of people wanting grocery stores, and that's a strong possibility. I mean, it's a very strong. Bowling Spring
we're
Lakes,
growing by leaps and bounds.
It is growing by leaps and bounds, and we want that. We want that. We don't want to ever raise taxes on. We don't have to.
Right.
So that's the main goal that we have, and that was our main focus. Let's get this job done without raising taxes.
Just as a follow-up, and I'm not part from that area, so I'm in Leland, so we don't have that issue per se. But for my own edification, you asked for 20 million round figures. You raised 15 round figures.
Yes.
So you really only need to find 5 more.
Well, we got what the bond was for.
But the bond,
Yes.
the bond gave you 20.
Yes.
Which in round figures, 15 you don't need.
Right.
What happens to that?
Well, the 5 million, this is it. If we need it, it's 5 million is contingency. It's there because FEMA pays back. FEMA is going to give us right at $19 million, but they don't give it to us all at one time. And we have to pay for everything up front, fill out all the paperwork, send in to FEMA. And when they start to pay us back, it could be anywhere from a month all the way up to a year before they refund us what we pay out. So that 5 million is like a bridge for us to get by until we get FEMA money coming back in. And then we start paying whatever, if we have to borrow any of that money, we start paying it back.
But the money you don't use just for the purposes of the people living there, what happens?
If we don't use it, it goes away. If we borrow $1 million and there's 4 million left in there, it goes away.
So it doesn't sit there 20 years later.
It
and say, "We
doesn't
got this
sit
money
there
coming."
20 years later,
Right.
that money goes away. If we don't borrow any of it, that money goes away. So it's not there for us to use it as whatever we feel we may need it for.
So there's a sunset on that.
There's a sunset on that. It's strictly just for rebuilding the dams, and that's it. That's all it's for.
Well, that's good to know, and people
Yes.
need to hear that.
Yes, and if it's not needed, we're not going to touch it.
Now, if, okay, say that I spoke to Charlie last week and he stated that he had once again requested the amount that
Yes.
you need in the new budget.
Right.
He feels that if that budget is signed, which we never know with our governor, but
Yep.
nevertheless, if it is signed, then you won't even need that 5 million.
Right. Absolutely.
So then that will just go away as though it didn't exist.
It'll go like it never even existed.
Right.
And that's the whole point. You know, you like we said, we want to look for money everywhere we get it.
Mhm.
We wish we could have started this dam before inflation took hold
Yeah.
and had this project really underway, but it didn't work out that way.
No.
So,
Not your fault at all.
so,
It
but
just
No,
didn't work out
no.
that way.
it didn't work out that way. But you know, my job was to get the money and get this done.
I know exactly how you feel because I worked for 3 years to get money for the spillway out there. They were going to start construction in November, and then the hurricane came through in September.
So I'm looking forward to
And that should have been something for the citizens to appreciate because that money that I had worked so hard to get just went away
yes.
because we couldn't use it.
Well, and this is the biggest thing I kept when I had the meetings. I would let people know we've had a lot of people go to bat for us.
Mhm.
Representative Rouser's office,
Right.
their team has went to bat for us.
Yeah,
Senator Tillis's office has went to bat for us.
right.
We've had Representative Miller, Senator Rayburn, everybody, and
Oh,
Representative
yes.
Aller. They've all went to bat for us.
Yeah.
And if we have to give any of this money back, we will never get any help again.
No.
I mean, to me, that's an embarrassment for
If you
somebody to work so hard for
refuse
you.
it,
Yes.
they're not going to work with
Yeah.
you again.
And all the grants will dry up. We won't get any more grants. So it was very important for me to get out there and make sure everybody knew what the true facts were
Right.
and get this project going.
They were all very instrumental in helping me when I worked on the spillway.
Yeah.
Very instrumental. I appreciated every one of them. Of course, Charlie wasn't in office then, but
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 yeah,
the rest of them were. So,
you cannot ask for a better group
no,
to work
you
with.
cannot.
I mean, they are top notch. They're by your side when you need them,
Yep.
and they're there to battle with you.
They are.
Our biggest battle so far, and it still is a little bit, is FEMA.
Oh, I'm
So
sure.
they're still our biggest
They're
challenge.
not
And
easy to work with.
no, they're not, but I think they're coming around. We're looking forward to the bids are starting to go out. We'll open them up in February. And then once we get the bid who we're going with, we will start construction in February.
Great.
So
What's
So
the time
tell-
frame on construction?
3 years is what they're telling us, but we have, that's one of the things I did when I got into office. I wanted to meet with the engineer because the engineer was dead set on having one contractor doing all the work. Well, FEMA has it divided into 2 projects. So my suggestion to him was, let's divide it in 2 projects so that everybody bid on it. If we have 2 separate contractors, you're going to get a competitive bid.
Yes.
So that's the way they're working it. And then we had discussion about if we let them work on Saturdays, we can speed the process up and maybe get a lower price too. So we've got all that rolled into the contract now. So when it goes out to bid, we're looking at the best thing that'll come to
Where
Bowling
will
Spring
they
Lakes.
start, Jeff?
They're going to start on the upper dam up there on Alton Leonard Road, so we can get that road open back up.
Right.
That's
That's
something
good.
that is urgent. We get that open back up. Our emergency response personnel, it takes them roughly about 12 minutes
Yeah,
to
they've
go
gotta
all the way
All the
around.
way around.
And I've always looked at it, you know, if it's somebody that you need to get to in a hurry and you can't get to them, I'd hate for it to be my mom.
Yeah.
So that's the way I approach everything I do. I look at it, well, how would it affect me? Would I like it? Way I do the budgets, I look at it as my own checkbook. If I don't have the money to spend, I'm not spending it.
We are so lucky to have you. Can you tell us, please, about this new piece of equipment that the city has purchased to clear out the
Yes.
wooded areas in the lake
It is.
beds?
It's a Traco. We've got it for $200,000. We can also use it for other projects.
Mhm.
There was $1 million in the overall budget of the dams to be able to clear all that out. So it finally came in. They've already started using it.
I've seen the work. It seems to work
Yeah,
great.
yes, but it will grind everything down. It'll leave the stumps probably about 10-inch stump, so we don't mess the bed of the lakes
Right.
up.
We don't want sinkholes.
And we're gonna go through there and start mulching everything up. It'll take several months to get it done, but we'll have that equipment and we'll be knocking it out.
Are there issues with the wildlife?
We've had several reports of coyotes. I've actually seen some coyotes, a baby coyote, and we actually approached wildlife about that to get them aware of we're doing and what's going to happen. We've had a report of a few bears, but
Yeah.
nobody. I haven't confirmed that, but the coyotes are there. Other wildlife are there, and what wildlife told us was once you start, they're going to run.
Yeah.
Well, yes, we know they're going to run, but I just don't want them running into somebody's
I don't know
house.
where they're going to
Yeah.
run.
That's right.
Yeah.
I mean, we have a lot of kids around that area, and I want to make sure our residents and the families stay safe there.
Well, I know somebody off the big who had ducks and they have one left.
But
So you know that there are
oh yes,
big cats and
Yes.
coyote
Yes.
and whatever.
there are.
Yeah.
So and as we're going through there, as they're cutting, they're not running anything. So everything's been pretty clear.
Right. Okay, good. Well, hopefully if they hear you coming, they'll
Yeah.
find another home.
I wish they would run from me.
Now we are a wild, we're a bird sanctuary, but not
Yes.
wildlife.
No.
So, but it's great that you contacted wildlife.
Well, you want to make sure when you start a project, everything's safe.
Yes.
And you want to make sure surroundings around your town safe. So that was the
Right.
first thing we wanted to do, is make sure wildlife was aware of what we were doing and make sure if they had to respond, they knew about it.
A lot of people were concerned, and they're not quite as concerned now as they were when the weather was hot, because there were a lot of snakes in the.
There was,
beds.
and they have seen some snakes because we were able to get out on some of the lake beds and with a bush hog and cut some of it. So there was snakes out there too.
Right.
So, but they've been our staff's been very good at trying to not destroy any wildlife. That they see something, they're trying to let it run free.
Okay.
So that they've been very cautious to everything they've been doing, and I applaud the staff for that.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And you've not had any complaints about them going into the homes? Right?
Well, we had complaints while the brush was there before we started
Yeah.
cutting. They were having a lot of issues with mice and mouse and rats and stuff. So that was a big concern. We wanted to get in there and just start taking that area down, because they'll live there, they'll breed there. If we start taking it
Yeah.
down, they'll go away. So that was an issue we wanted to make sure we went ahead and tackled.
One of the questions that I've heard in the city is how do you refill the lakes and how long does it take?
Well, we have a natural spring. I had somebody send me a picture the other day. So she went wandering, wanting to find where it was at, and she found it. And she wanted to know, was we going to preserve it? And my thought was, well, when we get all this part of the project, absolutely everything needs to be preserved so everybody can see where our natural springs
I think
are.
that's a great idea because it's never been.
Yeah.
And it's pretty awesome.
It is, and it'll take roughly a year with the rainfall and the spring to get it built back up. So I'm anxious. I'm really waiting for this to get started.
Oh,
I mean,
yes.
it's been a long. This is my 11th month in office, so it's been a very long 11 months getting things done.
You hit the ground running when he got elected. He was just whoosh.
It sounds like it.
Well, I told everybody I'm not the type of person who sits on their hands.
No.
I'm a type of person. I'm a hands-on person. I like getting out there. I like getting the job done. You give me a mission and something to do, I'm going for it. People may get irritated with me because I keep after it, but I like to make sure the job gets done.
but you have patience. I can see that. I should have that much patience.
Oh, I agree.
I,
You should have that much patience.
I learned that a long time ago that you have to have patience.
Yeah, I know.
So
But is there anything else in particular that you would like to share with the citizens of BSL or with anybody in the county?
well, this is our whole mission in BSL. It's to put our town where we're noticed, where we're number one. That was one of the things I kept telling our commissioners. I want our town to be front and center. If something happens, I want people to know where Boiling Spring Lakes is.
Well, that's our namesake.
It
our
is.
lakes. We have 52 lakes in
Yes.
BSL.
And one of the things we did was the American Flood Coalition. We joined it with Tony McEwen, and they're nationwide. So that brings a lot of attention back to us being part of these groups and making sure that when events are going on, that we're part of those events. We just had an interview, a little film session with them the other day, because one of the grants that him and Mayor Sappho was pushing to the state, we actually got.
Wow.
So we was one of 5 towns in North Carolina who got that grant.
That's great.
So it pays to get out and work. It really
Yes.
does. So it comes back to you 10 times over if you do what you need to do.
I know that there are issues with the roads, and I know that a lot of the roads just need to be paved. The other issue is water.
Yes.
and
Yes.
flooding.
Yes.
And I think we kind of know exactly where those places are. But you have received a grant to deal with that as well.
We have received actually 2 grants to deal with that. We've started on the projects. The next one is on Redwood. We'll be starting that project very soon. We actually took some money and bought our Public Works Department piping so they can do some in-house. So the grant money is in play. It's in work. It's moving forward. We're actually going after more with the emergency flood plan we have. We adopted it when we got in office. So we've been going by that plan and going after grants with that plan.
Wonderful.
So we're looking as far as we can look. I tell my guys where I work at, and I tell everybody else, I don't like blinders. I like to be able to look as far out as I can and see what we need to do to be able to work for that goal to get what we need. So we're working on grant money. We're looking at extra areas, maybe for a boat landing or something for the big lake.
Great.
So we're looking at all different areas where we can bring grant money in to benefit all the residents of Boiling Spring Lakes.
That's super.
So-
I know that the flooding issues have been, and they've been issues for a long time, especially in the Redwood area and at the end of Palmer.
Yes.
So, and given the fact, I guess, that people didn't build correctly, as far as I can see, I hope that in the future, your planning board maybe changes some of the ordinances.
Well, we've got to update some of them and bring them up to some of the current codes is what we got to look at. We need to be able to make sure that when we're building, we're looking at these things. So that's a project we want to do. I've asked the town manager, and I've talked to our commissioners about, I'm used to every year we had a little session. All the commissioners and the mayors got together and we sit down to begin the year and set our goals. And once we set those goals, we work towards those goals and we all work for a common good. And it keeps you on the straight and narrow. And that way, you don't have to worry about what you're going to think about doing next. You have the goals that's in front of you, the most important ones, and you focus on those. And you find out you get a lot more work done if you put that plan out there first instead of waiting. I always tell everybody, don't fly by the seat of your pants. So get something out there and get the plan together and move towards it. And it works. It really does. So.
And one of the other things that is exciting for the city of BSL is they are getting a new fire department.
They are getting a new fire station. Plus our police department's getting a new station.
Exactly.
So they're getting one. It's well past due, but they're getting a new one. The fire department, I'm excited. They're got a nice place. They're getting ready to look at building. They approached us to help them with a $250,000 grant they have received.
Really?
So yes, so the city is helping them with the paperwork and all that for that grant. So
that is not city funded.
No.
Our fire department.
It is not.
Not.
Yes.
So, they're getting their money elsewhere.
They are.
Mhm.
But if it's something that they are going after and like a grant and they need our help, that we should be right behind them all the way to make sure they get what they need. They put their life on the line every day, and that's the least we could do to make sure that they're taken care of and they get what they need. So,
And I'm really happy about that, and the new police department.
but yeah, we're coming along.
Yeah, I know. I was down and talked to Kevin, and I said, "Are you guys excited about the new office?" And they all said, "Yes."
Yes. So yeah, it's coming along very nicely.
Yeah,
So,
that's great.
but yeah, I'm happy the direction we're going.
Okay, thanks. She's telling me nobody can hear me again. Sorry. Thank you, Greta.
We have a question that we ask all our visitors, and it's usually a very hard question.
Go
So-
ahead, ask away.
And we found that, the question is very basically, tell us something about you that nobody knows.
Oh my gosh.
See, I told you it wasn't easy. I'll give you some hints. We found out that the lieutenant governor likes to go to train yards and look at trains. We found judges who like to sing and play music and cite poetry.
And we heard from a gentleman who turned an aircraft carrier around.
And it takes 3 miles to turn an aircraft carrier around. These are things that we didn't know before the show started.
That's very, I mean, to me, I've always been a sports nut. I've played sports my whole life. I love coaching kids. I mean, when I umpired, I used to watch the kids as they growed up, and then their brothers would come up and play right behind them. But that's our future, is the kids. And if they get interested in some kind of activity like sports, it keeps them out of mischief.
I can see you as an umpire.
Well, I did.
He's also used to 50% of the people not being happy with that decision.
So, and that really goes with running for office too.
Yeah.
So,
But that's an interesting fact to know about you. So you were an umpire.
I was an umpire, and I really loved it. I really loved it a lot because I took it the same way I do everything. I like to go and do it right. And when you do umpiring, or you're a mayor, or you're a council person, you have to put your best foot forward. And if you tell somebody that this is the way you are and this is what you're going to do, then that's who you need to be.
I agree.
You don't need to change who you are because somebody wants you to change. And I've always stayed true to who I am, and I'm not changing for nobody.
That's
Ladies and
great.
gentlemen, you've met the man that's putting the lakes back in Boiling Spring Lake.
Yeah.
So we want to thank you here today,
Yes,
and
thank you,
for
Jeff.
giving us a lot of great information. And we'd like to invite you back anytime you think
Yes.
there's something we should know,
Well,
and
Yeah.
put you on the air. We'll do it in a week's notice.
Well, we need to update all this work that's going on. So
oh, absolutely. I
after next
appreciate
year,
it. I thank you a lot for allowing me to come on and speak to you and speak to everybody out there to be able to know that Bowling Spring Lakes is coming back.
thank
It
you,
was
Jeff.
both informative and interesting. So we thank you
Yes,
for being here today.
Thank you
Thank
so
you.
And
much.
TK, we need to pay some bills. Thank you.
Veteran Awareness sponsored by You Are Not Alone. Today's veteran homeless rate is approximately 19,750, and the numbers are declining because of the various veteran programs. If you or a veteran you know is homeless, please call 877-4AID-VET. This is a confidential and toll-free call. From this veteran to other veterans, please be there to help our brother and sister veterans. Again, the number is 1-877-424-3838. And thank you for your service.
This show is also sponsored by Dr. Tony Maglione. Dr. Tony is a cardiologist practicing in Wilmington. He accepts Medicare patients, and his office is located across the street from New Hanover Regional Medical Center at 2032 17th Street. The office number is 202-1071. Dr. Tony is an author whose last book is Rules for Conservative Patriots, and it can be purchased on Amazon. His website is www.drtonymag.com.
If you're enjoying the content you find on Big Talker, any of your shows, all the hosts, you really need to make sure you're following and liking us on Facebook. There's a video section. You can watch all the live video of programs as they happen. You can also see video of past content that you may have missed for whatever reason. Plus, even better, you can share it with a friend. Let other people know how much you enjoy the Big Talker and the great content we provide, and interact with other listeners and the hosts in the comment section live as it happens. Big Talker Net on Facebook.
It seems like every other store is now selling CBD in some form or another. But did you know that Wilmington has just one local CBD company? I'm talking about Carolina Pure. Family owned and operated, they are Wilmington's first and only CBD company that makes quality hemp products right here in town, including tinctures, topicals, and pet products. Their hemp is sourced from local farmers, and they support area musicians and nonprofits. Check us out at carolinapureshop.com. Have you heard about Cape Fear's only fitness community exclusively for those over 50? At Full Circle Fitness, we understand that goals, lifestyles, and our bodies change through the decades, which is why our Living Fit After 50 is custom designed to help you get a safe, effective workout without spending hours in the gym. Get started today. Call 910-399-8350 or visit FullCircleFitnessNC.com.
Join Big Talker Network is as easy as asking for it. Program your digital home assistants such as Google Home, Alexa, and Siri to stream Big Talker Network content by simple voice command. Enjoy convenient hands-free access to program whenever you want, however you want, by asking for Big Talker.
That's different opening kind of that. I can't dance to that. Welcome back, everybody. We're actually gone through 45 minutes of the show already.
I
But
know.
Greta's finally joining us up here on the stage.
Hello.
She got over her basic shyness and joining us
Oh
up here.
yeah, that.
And again, we want to publicly thank her again for doing all that work on the billboards.
We
'Cause
love
you
the
didn't get a chance
billboards.
to see you waving and saying yes. So thank you. Now, what the time we have left, we need to talk a little bit about voting.
Sure.
Because
Yes.
one of the things that come out at the end of voting, they have a bunch of days, and one of them's called provisional ballot summary days. And I went to a meeting where the Board of Elections had a 6-hour meeting, which was just joyful, watching people counting ballots and opening up things. And,
Right.
it was like watching paint dry and going out to watch grass grow.
Something
but-
that's done after every election.
But,
At least
The
it's
import-
not California. I just
That's true.
Okay.
and it was done correctly.
Right.
So that was important. And by the way, just before we get there, they bring in 2 sets of 4 counters, if you will, and it
Mhm.
represents both parties. And they open them, they record them, and then they get fed into the machine. So there's not a chance for the playing around there.
Right.
What you need to know though, and it's stressed all the time, but people don't listen.
No.
We've told you that the state has told you that during early voting, you can register and vote. If you wait till election day, it's not going to count.
No.
Now, I will tell you that according to the state directives to the Board of Elections, they're not going to fight with you if you show up on election day and say, I want to vote and register.
Right.
They're going to let you do it and make it a provisional ballot
Right.
and tell you, you got to look online to see if it's accepted or not. Well, when you start looking at what they did that day, there were 282 ballots that were thrown out for varying reasons.
People need to understand that if you, 2 things that you need to do: make sure that you are registered in the county in which you live, and make sure that you know the place that you vote. Because on election day, if you are not registered, or if you go to the wrong precinct, neither place can accept your vote except with a provisional. Provisional ballots are done just to appease the voter. And we tell the voter over and over, we cannot guarantee that they will be counted.
And beyond that, when you talk, I know there's something called a partial ballot,
Mhm.
and people don't realize that. Greta, you want to address that for a minute? Or you-
The partial ballot. I have this odd image in my head, but I'm gonna let you. I'm gonna let you
okay, you can let me
explain
run
it.
with that
Yeah.
one? Okay.
Yeah.
Let's assume for a minute it's election day and you've walked into precinct A, but you're registered to vote in precinct B.
Right.
Okay. Now, you don't want to go over there. You say, let me do provisional, blah, 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 blah. They're not going to fight with you. They're going to do provisional ballot. But unfortunately, for example, in Brunswick County, there were a difference in the 17th and the 19th district for precincts when you're voting for either Charlie Miller or Frank Eiler.
Right.
So
Exactly.
in addition to that, Boiling Springs Lake had a
bond.
constitutional bond on there that they
Right.
had to deal with for $20 million. So if you're in the wrong precinct that didn't have the right General Assembly person or didn't have the bond issue on it, they let you vote. And then what they do is they take your ballot and they will only count those ones that should be applied to your precinct that you were on, that was on your ballot. So you may not get a chance to vote for Charlie and or Frank, or you may not get a chance to vote for the bond issue because
Right.
you chose not to go to the right place.
Yeah.
In defense of the voters, you have to admit, I mean, North Carolina does a great job. Don't get me wrong. We really do. We actually announce winners on the day of election.
Unheard of.
What a concept, right? But a lot of this crazy state to state and all the transplants that we have, and do have a lot of transplants in Brunswick County. Y'all are transplants from other birth states, right? And it's so different. And then we have early voting in these locations. People think, oh, on election day, I had in my community, I had to beat them to death. Okay. You cannot. You've got to go to the elementary school on Village Road. But it's confusing. I will just say that.
It is.
Okay. I can understand why people do the wrong precinct
And
thing
that's why they tell them
over and over.
And the
Do
other
they
thing that
listen?
people get
No.
caught in, and we only had a
No.
handful, wasn't even a full hand,
Not a lot.
but people who tried to vote twice.
Yes.
They do early voting and then they show up on election day and
Yeah.
say, I want to vote again. Well, the information's in the computer, guys. It ain't happening. You know, they'll take your provisional and then they go check it out
Right.
and they're going to wipe out. They have the ability to go back and eliminate
Exactly.
your ballot.
Right.
You know, they don't know who you are, but there's a number that matches up somewhere in the computer that they can go back and fix that vote for you. So
You only get to vote once.
That's true.
folks.
and you only get to make a mistake twice.
Exactly.
You want to go on that
And
one?
that is another
Oh,
one
Lord.
that people do not understand. Now, a voter is allowed to additional ballots. Say, for instance, you're writing and you're checking your boxes and your hand slips and you check the wrong thing. Then you would hold up your ballot and the assistant would come over and ask what the problem is, and you tell them, I've made a mistake, I need a new ballot. She will give you another ballot, and then say that you make that same mistake again. She'll give you another ballot. The third time that the third ballot that you fill out is considered a provisional. So it is subject to the Board of Elections determining whether or not they will accept it.
Wow.
So just, carefully when you're voting, when you're filling out your ballot, try not to do that. I mean, it happens, and the second ballot is no problem. But after that, there is a problem. They can decide not to accept it.
And there's other simple things that take you down. For example, again, I was there for the 6-hour watching the grass grow meeting,
Right.
and they recommended 23 ballots that were mailed in that should not have been considered at all because of 2 of them, the envelopes were not sealed. And that just takes you right out of the box
Yep.
because there's no telling what someone did to your ballot.
Exactly.
Which
So
I think is great.
It's called chain of custody, right?
Thank you.
Yeah,
And you know what? Without chain of custody, you got nothing.
exactly.
Right.
So
Another
that
s-
is wonderful.
Another 7 were put out because the witness information was incomplete. Remember?
Yep.
That's
You
brilliant.
need to fill it in and they check.
I know
And
they
that's
do.
great.
That's why I love this
Right.
way this state conducts elections.
I do too.
And there
I
were
really
14
do.
of them that were returned after the deadline.
Yep.
Now, keep in mind, the law says 3 days after the election, but because the third day was a holiday, that was swung to Monday. So it came in after Monday with election on Tuesday.
So they even
And-
allowed them additional time.
They were given additional time statewide because the law says that if it's a holiday in there, you got to extend the timeout. So, and Veterans Day did occur there.
Yeah.
They still blew it.
You know what? I think, folks, that you need to stop and ask yourself, take the time to get the information that you need.
Right.
Take the time to make sure that your vote counts. That shows that
You know, if you're going to take the time to vote, do it right. You're wasting your time and all those people's time. And remember, they're not going to fight with you. They're just going to give you the provisional ballot, and then they're going to do whatever the law says when it comes to the additional times later. So do it right the first time. You don't have a problem.
we have
She's great.
She's the best. She was literally without incident. She would
She's a straight shooter too.
Yes.
She is.
to make sure that you're doing what you're supposed to.
You know, and we're going to review right now one more time so that everybody knows no more of this. Somebody got in and fixed the ballot routine because we're not dealing with it anymore. Let me explain how that works in Brunswick County. We have paper ballots to begin with. We were doing paper ballots before it became cool, you know, and now it became a cool thing to do this year.
Yeah, Mary. Turn your mic around, sweetie.
You're
My
talking,
mic around.
it's up to you.
Oh,
Talking to the side. There we go.
So
cute.
we had a problem there and I just went completely blank. So the mind.
I'm
just left.
sorry. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm
We
sorry.
were doing something here of great
I'm on
importance.
speed dial for the radio station here. Okay.
You were explaining to everyone how there is no chance that
Oh.
they can mess with the
Right.
ballot.
So we start, you come in, you register. Okay. You go to the computers, they check you out. That computer is updated every 30 minutes
Right.
to a central bank that is then sent out to all the precincts or all the early voting stops. So the chances of you coming in and trying to vote in more than one place are almost nil.
Right.
That's to begin with.
Right.
Then you go over and you draw a ballot. Now, on one stop, they print the ballot because there's a bunch of places you could get it from.
Right.
On precincts, they have a printed ballot sitting there because they know what you're supposed to be drawing.
Right.
However, the ballot is then marked and you then go vote.
Mhm.
Okay. You then take the vote to a tabulator
Right.
and the tabulator runs it through, counting both sides of the thing. And it gives it, and they may have 49 here, 49 here. They check all the time. And every 2 hours during election day, they call numbers in just to make sure everything matches.
Yes.
And and again, the machine is not hooked up to a computer.
Nope.
no.
It's not hooked up to the internet.
Nope.
It's not going anywhere. There's no way you're going to fix it. Then when the day is over, they take a encrypted stick or disk, whatever
Yep.
they want to call it, and they load it in. They download the information from that tabulator, and it is delivered to a central facility. And we can follow people there. We've done it. Okay. And it's walked in. There is a computer on the right side that is not hooked up to anything, and all 27 precincts are fed into that computer. When they're satisfied that they're correct, they have them all in. They download it to a brand new encrypted disk,
Right.
so there's no chance of it being mixed up again.
Yep.
They walk it next door to the computer on the left, which is hooked up to the internet, and that is then sent to the state board of elections where that is downloaded. And then they sit there and say, okay, line one had 3,227
Yes,
votes.
they
Is that what
do.
you got? And they do line by line, confirming what was sent is what was received.
Yep.
So
Exactly.
you can be confident in Brunswick and other parts of this state that your vote counts. And
Yes. They check and double
secure.
check. They
You know,
do.
and that's important for us
And
to
one
do.
thing that people were complaining about, that they were concerned about during the actual election day, there were lines of people waiting to vote. Well, obviously, if there are lines, then there are lines when they're entering their ballots into the tabulator.
Sure.
These tabulators are machines, folks. They slow down after 300 votes are entered. After 500, they reset themselves. And so then they can start up and go a little faster. But people were concerned that something was amiss because they were slowing down and people were having to wait to insert them. I had 5 calls that one day on just that.
They were slow when I
Yeah.
was observing.
Yeah.
They
And the
were
other side
really
of that
slow.
point is if they feed it in too quickly, yeah, machine.
Right.
Yep.
You know, they've got to
Right.
feed them in a
Yeah.
slow pace.
Yeah.
But they will work if people follow the procedures. And we're
But they're
down to
going
about-
they're going to slow down. I mean, it's obvious.
I have.
Yeah. I
Thank you.
mean,
Very well put.
I mean, they're going to slow down when there's like 25 people trying to put their ballot in.
Yep. And you know what? We're down to about
Oh
40
my
seconds
goodness.
to shut down the show already. We actually pushed through all that time already. We pulled this great time. And you know something? I have one thing to say about our friend missing. Dan who?
Oh no,
I
we
did.
miss you, Dan.
You want to tell us what's happening next week?
Yes, next week we will have Chief Deputy Brian Chisholm as our guest. He is the new Chief Deputy for the County of Brunswick. So please join us to hear what he has to say. And happy Thanksgiving, everyone.
Happy Thanksgiving, everybody. And remember, you can't wait to see what my hats are going to look just before Christmas. So tune in just for that reason. Thanks, everybody.